you're familiar with fantasy football. You played it once or twice.
Played it, I want to say twice. I've played it before. I'm familiar with the setup, what goes into it, the players, and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a depending on the leagues that you're in. It's a reason to get together with friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm very. I like to think that I'm competitive. I like to make if we're gonna get competitive about something, I like to you know if I care about it, I like to try and win. I'm not gonna be passive about it. So that's what makes it fun. Like watching football is fun and everything, but when you have something on the line, it kind of makes for me it makes it 10 times more exciting to watch. There's a bigger thrill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was actually really thinking about the idea of fantasy football, how it's like I understand it. I see how it's set up where essentially gambling on and depending on the abilities of all the players,
Mm-hmm.
the phys the their physical attributes, ability, the way they think, the way they act on and off the field, everything, all the money that we're putting into this is literally based on another person's life actions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy because so many things can happen, unforeseen things can happen that can make you or break you.
I would say, isn't that what all sports betting is? You're betting on the ability of a team or an individual, and just sports betting in particular.
Right.
Because
And it's usually though you're betting on like a one specific game or one specific detail about it. In fantasy football or in any fantasy league, because there's fantasy leagues for every type of sport, you're betting on, I guess, the whole league as a pool.
mm-hmm.
Because we're picking and choosing different players from different teams and uniting them on our own team. And obviously depending on how they do, we get the points for it or we don't get the points for it, and that decide it's the factor that determines whether we win or lose. So if you're betting on just one game or betting that this team will win the championship, you're just betting on one aspect. We're going offense, defense, passing, running, catching. Every aspect is being bet on in fantasy football.
That actually reminds me of boxing, specifically boxing betting, because you can bet for, you know, either opponent A or opponent B,
Mm-hmm.
or you can vote on the rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, there's a lot more that goes into fantasy football because there's individual players. And can you make, I don't know if this is possible, but can you bet that your receiver is going to do better than mine and then we bet on that? Is that possible?
You could
Or
do little side bets like that. There are different stats. Each format gives you statistics on different things. So you have like the most point total throughout the whole year.
Mhm.
Bunch of things: passes, how many targets, how many actual catches, how many attempts, how many runs. Literally everything is calculated, and when you're looking up your how to set your lineup for the following week, you're
Mhm.
looking at all these charts, all these like graphs, um you know previous years. You're looking at how they performed against a specific team during this, like they even bring it down to months,
Mhm.
like, oh, this month every year he performs this way. There's so much that gets put into a fantasy game. It's literally not real.
Yeah.
But so much gets put into this because it's so popular. It's crazy.
Almost like the world of George Orwell. What if the NFL owners, they saw that there was a drop. When was the fantasy football created?
I always thought it was created when internet happened, but apparently it's been being played way before that.
Oh, it's older.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And like back then it was super hard to play because you had to like call your league manager and be like, I want this, I want to drop this player, pick up this player, and they would keep track of points like on paper.
Okay, so this is an older idea. Then what if the NFL owners, they wanted their sport to be more popular? They wanted to get a rise. And why? Easy. More money, more power, more popularity, more eyes, more eyes, more, how should I say, control they have of the individual. And how do you control the individual? You give them fantasy football, but you have to make it mainstream for them to actually be invested and spend a whole bunch of time setting up their lineups, looking at the players, looking at who's coming in, because fantasy football is a game of information. The more you know, the better decisions you can make, and in turn, the higher your probability of winning. Not just because you know everything doesn't mean that you'll win, but if you have more information and you understand the stats, the players, the teams, what's going on television, and also if you know what's going on behind the scenes, then that would give you a huge advantage. Then if the NFL realized this and they said, if we give them this, then people will get invested, and when they get invested, we'll be able to have more sales, which would in turn give us more money, and then we'll have more power. What power? The power to control us. Minus the last part. Or not.
You explained it very well. The more information you have and know how to use to your benefit, it does help you. But you're always in that kind of, no matter how much you know and how prepared you are, you're always kind of in limbo.
And I think I would say that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
Because when you play a video game and you're playing a single player game, you can get so good at the game that you can almost predict everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what the unpredictability of the fantasy league does is, if I was going to compare it to video games, which would be like a battle royale, where there's always different people and you can never 100%, I would even say 50% predict what individuals are going to do. And in the fantasy league, people get injured. Stuff happens outside of the NFL stadium and the team that could affect someone's performance. They could be doing drugs. They could get arrested and be out for a game or two. There's so many variables that happen not only in the game, but outside of it that affect the players. And I think that unpredictability, that you never know what's going to happen, makes it exciting, because you can have a player, let's say Antonio Brown, and then I'm over here, I have, let's say, the Patriots, and all of a sudden everyone's looking at me like, yo, you're going to get shitted on. Steven has Antonio Brown. And then all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom. Nah, I have him now. What is? But even me having him doesn't mean he's going to be a good receiver, or he's going to work with the team, or he's going to know the plays, or etc. So there's always that unpredictability, which I think makes it exciting.
Yeah. It's literally a game of inches, because there have been occasions where, it's the last game of the week,
Mm-hmm.
Monday night, and I'm down by 0.3 points. My player's on the field. It's fourth quarter. There's 2 minutes left. My team, the team that, let's say I have like a player, who's playing this Monday night? Give him more realistic. I don't know who's playing this Monday night, but let's say I have Le'Veon Bell. He's a running back.
Yeah, no, I know him. Yeah. Great running back.
And the team he's on, the Jets, they're actually up. They're
Mm-hmm.
winning the game, but it's the fourth quarter. They have to run the time down. I'm only 0.3 points away from winning, so that's 3 yards. Literally 3 yards.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, he gets the ball. gets the first down, but he only got 2 yards. So now I'm down by one.
Mm-hmm.
They could easily give him the ball again, but why risk it? Why risk fumbling? They got the first down, new set of downs. They can just take a knee, run the clock out. There it goes. I took a now. I'm so powerless to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous.
But I would say that's what all betting is. With any type of betting that you have, I would say you have no control over it. So is it even worth worrying about it if you're betting? Just the
Mm.
act of betting itself, you really can't control
True. Unless you're betting on
anything.
yourself, that's the only thing you can control.
I thought about that right now. Even then, I would say you can't even control that. I mean, yes, you can control your actions, but you can't control what happens to you.
True.
If I'm trying to be a track star, I eat right. I work out. I eat, do all the things that would be beneficial for me to become a track star. I do everything right,
Mm-hmm.
and I get hit by a car, break my legs. I can't control that. I
You
can.
abruptly decide to retire.
So, although I would, what I would say is, when you're betting on yourself, you have more control because you are you, because you can control your own actions.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have a higher chance than if you were betting on someone else or something else. But that doesn't mean that you'll succeed or that you'll lose. It just means you gain a slight, I wouldn't even say advantage, because it depends if what you're doing. I would say you have the chance for a greater advantage if you bet on yourself.
True.